Good afternoon. I'm Ruth Reinhardt, and welcome to Conversations Off the Couch, where I chat with people who are making a difference in the world or just doing things differently. And I'm really excited today because I've got, all my guests are really special, but I've got two extra special people on board with me today. And I'm welcoming Donna Hedges and Kevin Hedges. Donna is the outgoing district governor for Q3 District of Lions, Australia. Did I get that right, Donna? Welcome.
You did, Ruth.
And welcome, Kevin. Welcome,
Thank you.
welcome. Yeah, I needed to make sure I didn't trip over my words. Thank you so much. I know it's a big impost on your time at the moment, because Donna, you're the outgoing district governor as of the end of June. Is that correct?
Correct. That's right.
Yeah.
So only about 20 days left.
And COVID came in and made a big difference in your world in the last 12 months. So, yeah. Donna, tell me about being a district governor. I'm new to Lions, as you know. I've been in a little bit over 12 months, and seeing women in leadership roles in Lions makes my heart really sing, because they're not an employer as such, but they're certainly in leadership in that equal opportunity. Tell me about being a district governor.
Yes, okay. Well, in Australia, there's 19 district governors, and so I'm the governor for the Q3 district, and I've got 74 clubs that in the district that I oversee, I guess. And so we visit, my role is to visit the clubs and just make sure that, that being engaging with the community and yeah.
So just that leadership role, I guess.
That's right.
You've got to have somebody at the helm. Donna, I come from a small country town in Western New South Wales. So my memories of service clubs are, there was Lions, I think there might have been Rotary. Apex was usually big out in the country as well. And whenever there was a new bank manager or a new bank accountant or somebody important kind of moved to the town, they joined up with one of those service clubs and were very heavily involved, and left a big gap when they moved on, when they got transferred. So that was my memory of service clubs. But it's really about a big service heart, isn't it? And Lions has an enormous service heart, and as do the people that join it. So you've got 74 clubs. So that's obviously, so Q3 stands for Queensland 3, I guess. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's lots of country clubs in there. So what's the geographical boundary for your 74 clubs?
Yes. So we are from the north side of Brisbane, so the north side of the Brisbane River up to the Sunshine Coast, up to, as far as Lake Currimundi, Kawana, then out through the hinterland, Maleny, through the Esk Valley, Darling Downs, and further out west to Charleville. Charleville is our furthest western club. Although the boundary really goes out to the Northern Territory border, but yes, our furthest club is Charleville.
Wow. So do you go up to Toowoomba?
Yes.
So that's your hometown?
Yes.
That's your hometown. So born and bred and educated in Toowoomba?
Correct, yeah.
And you moved around a fair bit? Your dad?
No, well, I stayed in Toowoomba and did all my schooling in Toowoomba. And then I came to Brisbane to do my teaching, and then moved around the state. I'd got married, and through both our works we moved around. So up to Townsville, Innisfail. My first teaching post was Goondiwindi.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So
how lucky were they? How lucky were they? And all these great country towns. So does every town have a Lions club, like in your area?
Well, one of my goals. Well, I think every community needs a Lions club, and unfortunately, we don't have a Lions club in every community. But that was, I guess, one of my not goals, but I think in the future, I think it's really important that clubs have a service organisation in their community. And I think for when the bushfires and the drought was on, I think that brought home to me that the importance of having an organisation like that to reach out to support the community in times of need. And there's a saying in Lions, where there's a need, there's a line, or there should be a line. So I think it's important that we connect with our community, and joining Lions is one way we can do that.
That's absolutely fun. Yeah. So both you and Kevin joined at the same time in 1999. So you were both in your full-time jobs, I assume rearing children and doing all those kind of things. What was the kickstart that not made you join Lions, but why did you join Lions, and why Lions and not another service club? What was it about Lions?
Yeah, good question. I was teaching at one of the local high schools, at Mitchelton State High School, and the Lions Club that we're in, Brisbane Bunya, had a relationship with Mitchelton State High School through the Youth of the Year. And the club was wanting to start a Leo club at the school. And the Leos is the young person's group, young people's group in Lions. And so they came to the school and said, we want to start a Leo club. And I was the teacher who said, look, I'm happy to be the school liaison with the Lions Club. And as a result of that, the Lion who started off the Leo club kept saying to me over a couple of years, you must join Lions. And I'd say, oh yes, one day, Ian, I'll join. Anyway, I think I weakened after a few years and said, okay, we'll join Lions, because we were asked, I guess, is how we came. And Kevin said, oh, well, if you're going to join, I may as well.
That answers my next question. So, Kev, for you, right. I mean, you took 2 years for them to recruit you. I think it took about 2 minutes to recruit me last year. I didn't know what had hit me, and I just thought, oh wow! But it felt good. It felt, even though I went in there to be the dinner speaker, I had no intention of joining, but it felt right when I walked in. That there was a feeling of family, and I think as a country girl in the city, I was missing that a bit in my life. So Kev, was it the same for you? Obviously, it made sense, I suppose, for both of you to be doing Lions and at least doing it together.
Yeah, we were both very busy in our own careers, and Lions gave us another outlet, I suppose, to just have that different direction, to have those other interests.
Yeah.
I'd actually, in my role, had addressed Lions clubs, not being a Lion. So I did go along as a guest speaker, but I didn't get captured because.
Well, you must have been stronger-willed than me. But,
and Ruth, you said when you joined Lions, it felt like that family, and I think that is an aspect of Lions. Is we talk about the Lions family, and it is we are in a family because we meet over dinner a couple of times a month, and we do activities together that sometimes we see our Lions family more often than we do our own own family sometimes. So I think that Lions family concept is really important.
Yeah, and they've got your back. I think that's what I loved about it. I know whatever happens in my life, there'll be somebody or all the bodies in Lions in my club that will have my back and will step up to help me out. And that's enormous, sense of gratitude for me. So it just felt right that night. I must have just walked in at the right time, and I haven't regretted it at all. One of the things that I loved is, particularly during the drought, we went out to we had a weekend out west, and we were helping some farmers out there, and that was an enormous help to them, I know, and we raised money that weekend, and it was just brilliant, and I know they were terribly grateful for the help that Lions gave them. And we work with other Lions clubs. They fed us, and laughed at our jokes and did all of that. And so it was really lovely. But of course, COVID-19 has hit, and we've been in lockdown for, I don't know, nearly 3 months, I suppose it is now. And that's had a massive impact on not only Lions, I would imagine on all service clubs. So we've moved to onto the dark side and doing Zoom meetings, which has been great. Everybody's just picked that up. But of course, it stopped a lot of our fundraising. We spend many hours down at Bunnings, through the gratitude of Bunnings, to sell sausages. That's a big income generation for us, so that we can disperse that in our community. We've not been able to do any of that over the last 3 months. You must be seeing that all over your 74 jurisdictions there, Donna.
Yes,
the heartbreak that's bringing, and not being able to do the things in community that we want to do. So what's the word on the street at the moment?
Well, I guess when we did go into lockdown, I had 3, I guess, strategies to. Firstly, was our making sure that our Lions clubs connected with their own members. So we needed to make sure that every member, we were connecting with them, and whether, you know, our own club, we had a buddy system so that we kept in contact with 1 or 2 of our members, and some other clubs did, you know, phone trees or whatever. So I think that was really important, just to make sure that our own members, our Lions family, were staying connected. And the second thing was that making sure that even though we weren't out being able to, you know, go out and do our sausage sizzles and be visible out in the community, we needed to have some sort of strategy to engage in that line space. So just making sure where we could do something to help our community. And a number of clubs, and including our own Brisbane Bunya Lions Club, you know, reached out to businesses and local community organisations and help them with food parcels or supporting them that way. So, and a number of clubs have been doing that, you know, helping with Meals on Wheels and things like that. And I think that's actually been quite good, that we've connected more with our local communities. And I think that's probably we could build on that a bit more.
Yeah. It's hard to know where we're heading, isn't it? Like, it's hard to know. The restrictions haven't been totally lifted yet. We are able to move around our own state a little bit more, and I think it's a time of reflection. I know for me, I've done a lot of personal reflection and business reflection over the last 3 months, and I guess Lions will take that opportunity. I guess one of the biggest issues with many service clubs is the ageing of their membership, and then people stepping into those roles as our other members kind of retire out a little bit more, I suppose, or change in what physical activity they can do with us. But so if you were a young person who had a service heart, and there's lots of them out there, what would be the attraction at Lions? Why Lions and not something else? What could they do at Lions to make a difference in the world?
Look, I think that the Lions has a framework for any age group to come into, and there's an organisation has got the framework set up. But I think some of our global causes that Lions across, you know, internationally, we all kind of support. So we've got the environment, and I think that appeals to young people getting involved with environment issues. Even though they're global causes, we can act up locally in those things. Hunger is another one that, you know, supporting those who in need of food, and, you know, homeless and domestic violence. So I think a couple of those organisations, you know, and also some of our youth programs. Leo's is for the 18 to, there's 2 lots of age groups, 12 to 30 really in Leo's. So that's for young people who can really support any you know what I mean, any, I guess, causes that they feel passionate about. You can do that through line. So we don't in line say, well, you must do this or must. It's really, what is your passion, and how can I support that, in your local community? And that's open. So it's very broad. People can get involved in. So if they feel passionate about an issue, then let's go for it. Let's support them with that.
Yeah, and I guess they've got some great ideas as well, and they can bring that to the table, and I think that's really important. And Kev, you're in the government world like Donna, in a different jurisdiction, but in your job, did you see lines on the ground with the work that you were doing in your career? Was there a need for more service clubs or more interaction with community through the service clubs?
Yeah, look, generally I did, and that's how I was issued with invitations to go along to Lions Club to speak to them about the role that I had. But yeah, look, it's always one of the challenges for service clubs, including Lions, is that visibility, just to cut through and connect. And I think we're now very much more aware of trying to make that connection. We've got connection across the world virtually, but it's now, there's greater importance now with connecting locally. And really, I've always been jealous of the country clubs where they had an identity, a real patch of their own, that they had this community. You could almost draw a circle around it. But the Brisbane clubs, and there's a number of us, tend to blend in, and it's sometimes fairly difficult to be able to market ourselves and get out there in the mainstream media. That's just one of the challenges, and I think we just need to keep focusing on our local communities as we have been in recent times. But
I think in the city too, Kev, from where I'm sitting and just observing, is that in the city, we've all got the same client base, whether it's the homeless, or whatever, it's the same client base. Whereas out in a country town, there's that geographical, if not just the town, also the surrounding countryside as well. And of course, Lions is international, but I think if nothing else with COVID, I'm hoping that we are also looking back inwards to ourselves about how we do things locally, as well as supporting international, because COVID's not over by a long shot, and there's certainly a lot going on. So, Donna, where does a district governor go when they finish their 12-month term? Because yours got totally interrupted by COVID, and I suppose you didn't get to do some of the things that you wanted to do, or you had to do them differently. Was there any one or two things that you were still able to do, but you had to do it differently because of COVID?
Just the our meetings, conventions. We couldn't go to the multiple district convention, but that was all the business side of it was all done through Zoom. So, and that's been really encouraging, because we've had clubs, meet through Zoom, and I think that I think we will continue. I think there's going to be a role for video conferencing in the future. So I think it'll change the way that we operate. So we won't be relying on face-to-face things all the time. We'll be able to do that through Zoom, and people are becoming more confident in that. So, I think it's been quite good in some ways, that it's made us change. And people normally don't like change, but we've been forced to change, and people are saying, well, okay, this is not too bad. So that's been one positive outcome, I think.
What's your proudest moment of the last 12 months? What's your legacy?
Oh gosh.
And given that did get kind of overtaken there for a while.
Yeah.
What's the thing you're most proud of? What did you step out to do and you did achieve it? And you're really proud of that legacy. So we're proud of everything that you do, you know.
Oh, thank you.
But you internally, what's the biggest
look,
thing that you're proud of?
I wanted to get Lions to use social media more to promote, you know, who we are and what we do, not just to Lions but to the wider community. And over the last few months, in particular, while we've been in lockdown, I think we've done that. I think that we've got a greater presence in, you know, in the community about what Lions do. So that's one thing. Oh, look, I hope that I've been, I guess, open in my style of leadership, so that, yeah.
Great. So how many female district governors have we had in Q3 district?
So we've had 5, or I might be number 6.
Yeah.
So over the past 30-something years, we've had 6 women. So, and my the previous district governor was a female, so it was nice to have 2 females in, you know, in a row. And I guess it's slowly, you know, when there's more women taking on those leadership roles. I mean, across Australia, there's about 30-something percent, 35% of women in Lions. But in the leadership role, you know, it's probably 20%.
So it's growing, and I think that's something that's really you know, really great. And I don't feel any kind of discrimination in Lions. I came in I came in hot on the heels of you becoming district governor, so I was pretty lucky for that. But it is just that community. So district governor, you finish on the 30th of June. Then do you step back into an official supportive role to the incoming district governor?
Yes. So I do have a role as the immediate past district governor on the management committee, just as a support role for David, who's coming in. And
we get to have you back in our club a little bit more.
I know, and I'm really going to enjoy that. Just being back as an ordinary member in my Lions club, getting, you know, involved in those projects. So I'm looking forward to that. Just being an ordinary member in my own club.
Oh, there's nothing ordinary about members in Lions, as you know. We're all pretty extraordinary because we make such a difference in our community. Hey, Kev, have you had a stint of district governor before?
No, I've never been a governor, but I do have a district role, and I've had district role a number of times before. But this year, I'm the district chair for vision related. Vision is one of the global causes internationally for Lions, and I'm also the Lions Eye Health Program, which focuses on preventable vision issues. I look after those areas for the district, and I communicate with the clubs, encouraging them to in turn have vision projects and spread the word on those areas. Recycling old spectacles, and we give out promotional material concerning eye disease and whatever. So I have that role.
Interesting, Kev. Interestingly enough, I'm pretty sure when my eldest son was I think it was his first or second year of school out in Western New South Wales, I'm pretty sure it was a Lions Eye program that actually picked up a vision issue with him. I know I'm pretty sure it was Lions, and then that led us on that all 3 children ended up alerted us to an issue that we didn't know was there. And it was just that they were doing something around the schools at the time and checking the vision of children. And
research shows 1 in 5 children do have an issue that should be further looked at. So, and it's a program that's expanding into our district depending on the restrictions over the next 12 months.
Yeah. So that was the early 80s. So he was born in 75. So yeah, it would have been the early 80s that got picked up. And as I said, each of the children after that, it alerted us to exactly the same issue, and we're able to run. So I was always eternally grateful for those, because as you know, in small country towns, there's not, in those days, there wasn't kind of optometrists.
And there's always those sort of opportunities for our club members to become involved in those programs. So,
yeah. I just love the wide range of things that we can get involved in. That's what I'm loving, and I'm really looking forward to us coming back online, and because I am missing that one-on-one interaction. So you can't fly overseas, so is there a holiday coming up for you too as you step back out of your roles? Or
well, we do have a holiday plan. We were going to go to Perth in September for a Lions convention and a conference, and that's been cancelled. But we've still got our flights and accommodation booked. So in September, hopefully
positive thinking.
We'll go to Perth.
So that's nice, and it is. I think it's a lovely opportunity for us to look at our own country. I've done a lot of overseas travel, but I must admit I love the road trips in Australia, and I love my own country. And I wouldn't say I'm being forced to do it, but I'm kind of really looking forward to going. You know, I love outback travel and things like that. And I guess
we've enjoyed visiting the clubs. When we went out to Charleville and Chinchilla and Miles and Wandoan, I mean, and Roma. It's been wonderful, and it's just been great meeting all of the people and
country hospitality and country cooking. That's what, you know, the scones and all that kind of stuff, and the sponge cakes, and you know, and it is. And I think if ever I down the track ever wanted to pick up your leadership role, Donna, it'd be just purely because I'd like to do all the travel out the west, because I love it so much. So I've got my money put aside for my Cobra. Still haven't bought it, but I'll get there. I just got to find a shop somewhere, probably down the Gold Coast, to be able to buy it. Hey guys, it's been lovely chatting with you. And what's the one message that you would like to give to community about Lions? For both of you, what's the message?
Oh, look, I'd love us to come and join us. Join our Lions Club, any Lions Club. You meet lots of people, and as we talked about, it's just that Lions family, and you do get a great feeling by helping people in the community, giving back to your community. It's a real sense of belonging. And community. We love it. You know, I don't know what we'd do now without our Lions.
What about you, Kev?
Just an opportunity to give back, and the community service projects are very, very rewarding. It's just amazing. Community service projects are a little bit harder to find these days, the ongoing ones. But when you get a hold of one and you see the difference you can make in people's lives, it really does grab a hold of you and keep you there. That's very, very positive aspect of it. And plus, we've made lifelong friends. You know, it's just across Australia, across, you know, even overseas when we've gone to conventions. It's you just meet like-minded people, and it's a very positive, a positive vibe, I think.
And I think COVID has brought that out. I think COVID, you know, there's been lots of gratitude Facebook pages set up and things like that, and there's been lots of giving and stepping out and giving, helping people in community, and I must admit I've really just loved reading about the stories and stuff that we should have been doing anyway. You know, as humans, we should be connecting, I think, and always helping. And that's certainly in the older days, you know, with the environment that I grew up, my mum was very heavily involved in church stuff and and community stuff. And then when I came to the city or the bigger country towns, it didn't seem to be the same, or it wasn't as obvious to me. And I think that's why when Lions stepped out and said, come on hither, come on in with us, I think it was the call that I'd been waiting for, because I've got a fairly big servant heart. I love listening to people's stories, and I get to do that a lot in Lions. I love people that have been in Lions for a long time, you know, and I really enjoy that. It's something I've always done, and I've really enjoyed listening to your stories today. Hey, Donna, job well done under pretty trying situation over the last few months in particular, where you've had to be at the helm and guide the rest of us about and how the clubs move forward into this new age. Kev, not taking anything away from you, mate.
No, that's right.
You know, there's got to be somebody to carry the luggage, lovey. And,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and I think, you know, there used to be an old saying, you know, behind every good man there's a good woman, but I think it's reversed for this. And I think as a couple, I think everybody in Lions would tip their akubra to you both for the amazing job you've done in very, very trying circumstances. And I wish every good luck to the incoming district governor, whose name is
David Orton.
Okay.
And he's from Toowoomba.
Ah!
And would you believe he and I went to school together?
Oh, gee whiz. So good stuff coming out of
It is good stuff from Toowoomba.
I think I'm going to go up there to get a dose of winter. I'm a little bit over the warm weather here in Brisbane. I tell you, it's got to get winter sooner or later. So thank you both. Look, you've just got another couple of weeks to go, Donna. So enjoy the Lions family wrapping their arms around you both for the amazing job that you've done, and stepping out there in community and saying, hey, this is what being a heartfelt servant to the community is all about. And it's lots of fun. I mean, I go for the fun. And I'm hanging out for another weekend out in the bush so I can get to wear my new akubra if and when I buy it. So thank you both for your time. Blessings
thanks for the invite, Ruth.
I love having you here. I just love having you here. And as you know, I love my Lions Club. Yeah. So that's it for today, folks. And we've been talking to Donna Hedges and Kevin Hedges. And Donna is the outgoing district governor for Q3 District Lions here in Australia. So if you've got a servant heart, or would like to have a servant heart, step up and check out your local Lions Club, because they do some amazing work. Without these community clubs, society would be a lot poorer for the experience. So it's been great to speak to you both. We'll chat soon. Goodbye, everybody.